What did you think? I'm the girl. The girl who has everything. It's gonna fuck both men and women. Sorry, my gal pal.
Jen is not my gal pal, as much as she would like to be.
The shade.
Hello everyone. This week, it's Bi Visibility Week, and I'm here with my special guest.
We're no longer invisible.
Jennifer! Yes, you're right, this is the one week of the year where you're
real.
Any other time,
I live in the void.
like I said, it's Bi Visibility Week. And so today, we're going to have a bit of a bi-themed video, aren't we, Jennifer?
Look at the eye makeup.
So you identify as bisexual.
Yeah, it means sometimes I look down the street and I'm like, ooh, boys. Other times I'm like, ooh, ladies. And that's the majority of where it goes when you've got this little game. I want to stick with bisexual because there's a lot of discourse of people being like
It's binary. It's binary.
Yeah, it's binary, but I'm like, no ho. I don't identify as pansexual purely because the first thing I ever identified with was bisexual.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be like against dating someone who was like non-binary or genderqueer.
Yeah.
Because I'm genderqueer, so that'd be like ironic.
I am a hoe for labels. Basically, I use labels, but I don't really use labels. I fancy who I fancy. It's not really specific to gender, so I can identify as bisexual or pansexual or queer, and sometimes I use gay as well, just as a shorthand in certain social situations. However, being a label hoe means that you get to celebrate every single diversity week that you can. So, I mean, win-win situation.
Yeah.
As the daters of all the genders, people sometimes ask what are the differences when dating people of different genders. So, for example, is there any differences when dating guys versus dating girls? Now, this is an interesting question. Jennifer, you have more experience dating guys and I have more experience dating girls?
Yes, I would agree with that,
Yeah, okay. So we're coming at it from slightly different angles.
Yeah.
But I think we both have some like interesting myth busting, but also truth telling when it comes to the differences. Because there are a few, but I think there's less than people think.
Oh yeah, way less than people
think. So as a starting point, there's always the thing where, wouldn't you agree, dating any person is going to be different from dating another person because they're different people. So as a starting point, you can't generalise what it's like dating girls versus what it's like dating guys. This is very binary, by the way, guys. Like, apologies to the non-binary folk out there. Like, just for the sake of quickness of this conversation, we're just going to use those labels for the moment, but just know that we mean you as well. It's impossible to define that generally because every single person is different.
Yes. And also, just because of what you just said about non-binary pals, no one ever asks that. They're always like boys or girls. Yeah. Because usually when they're asking these questions, they're not a part of the community. They're be straight and they're like, what's the difference? That's my impression of a straight person. Did you like it?
Yeah. It's just you, but just with a higher tone of voice.
That's how I imagine straight girls,
First of all, what are some true differences between dating guys and girls?
You have to buy more conditioner when you're with... This is the most legit... If you're like me, I care a lot about my hair. I have fancy conditioner. You're going to have to buy more of that if you're dating a girl, because when they shower around yours, especially if they've got long hair as well. Oh, meh, boys don't care.
I think generally, if you're two girls in a relationship, you have more stuff. The makeup, all of the hair stuff, like you were saying. That being said, one thing which isn't true about dating girls, not necessarily, is that your periods are in sync. It's a blessing and a curse.
Because that week's fun when you're not on your period. Yeah. That's a fun week for you.
Yeah, Shark Week.
Yeah.
Like, generally, you both have periods, which means that you've just got, like, half of the time, like, sex is sometimes a little bit tricky. Because you're like, okay, well, I'm off. Oh, great, well, I'm fucking on now. Also, just talking about periods, boys are more grossed out by blood than girls are when it comes to period blood. Like if my girl leaked on my bed, I'd be like, okay. And also, I've leaked on a girl's bed and she's been like, aight. Whereas boys are like, the devil has been here, the devil himself. With girls, you can share clothing or you cannot share any clothing. With boys, I can always share clothing. Boys' sizes are usually easier to fit into because they do medium and large, and that's larger than a girl's medium and large. Like, so I could always fit into their clothes. The last girl I dated was like 5'1". I'm almost 6 foot. Couldn't share any of her clothes. Yet all my
stuff was being stolen. Now I know how all the boys felt.
Something else that I've noticed a difference when dating guys versus girls is how society reacts around you.
Oh.
People treat you differently if you're obviously in a same-sex relationship than if you're in a straight relationship. So for example, one thing I've noticed is that if you're going on a date with a girl, even if you're like holding a girl's hand or something like that, you're actually really flirting around with each other, people won't presume you're in a relationship when you're on a date. Whereas if you go on a date with a guy, complete opposite situation. So even if you're hanging out with a guy and you're just friends, people presume you're on a date. It's like you're two ends of a different spectrum where people react completely polarized differently depending on who you're hanging out with. Public displays of affection, completely different change of the game. So if you're dating a girl, you have to be really careful when you're being openly affectionate in public, just because like if I say I wanted to hold my girlfriend's hand in public, like
I'm shook. I don't do that.
There's always this background running in your head, exactly, of where am I? Am I safe? Who's behind me? Is anyone going to see that shouldn't be seeing this? If, for example, your partner isn't out or something like that. Whereas if you're in a straight relationship, you just don't think about that. Why would you have to? And you shouldn't have to think about that because people just aren't affected by it. Homophobia.
A fresh plate.
If you do have relationships with the guys and relationships with the girls, you particularly feel it. Because you literally have a direct comparison to how generally the world reacts to you in various different types of relationships.
Also, if you are like, fuck it, I'm gonna get off with my girl, suddenly it's like, whoa! And it's like a little live porn show for Bob in his van. And like, Steve, Bob. No. With boys, like, no one blinks an eyelid. Also, okay, so young bisexuals out there, like the babbies. Bibbies. When I was in the closet. The closet, babe. Discrimination. I was getting with girls and boys filmed it. It was my friend who took a photo of me getting with a boy, and it was much of a, because I fancied him, she was like, and that was like cute, and it was all consensual and it was all great. When kissing girls at parties, it was so much more the boys filmed it. It was always done on show. It was for boys. You're kind of reinforced into the male validation that comes within your relationship, and that's gross as shit. There was no way in anyone's mind that I could be bisexual or gay or any of that shit. It was not a thing in anyone's mind. Jokes on them. Dating women at university, because bisexuality and women loving women is not seen as, you know, valid, a lot of the time you'll be considered either you're experimenting at university or you're the experiment. Oh, yay. I look cute in goggles. And
there's never that confusion when you're dating guys, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I've never had to go, does he really though? Does he really want this? Like, there's always that fear of experiment. I mean, lesbians know me when they go, you're not real, but also at the same like, I can understand if you've had to go through the straight girl problem.
A similar thing to sort of society's expectations when it comes to that. When you're in a relationship with a girl, because you're both of the same gender, there's not as much like pre-established expectations. So there's not as much like the guy's role is to do this in a relationship in the dating period, like guys taking a girl out for drinks and like paying for like the drinks maybe and doing all of these things. For girls, there's no steps to follow.
It's quite liberating.
It is very liberating. And whereas in a straight relationship, I think there's a lot more pressure on the guy and on the girl to act in a certain way.
To conform. Your first relationship was with a girl?
I was with a girl,
Mine was with a boy when I was in the...
Closet.
Stop saying it. We did kind of conform a little bit. It wasn't... You know, we didn't really think much of it. I didn't think much of it. And then later, when I was like, oh shit, I want to date a girl... How shook was I at having to date? Like, having to ask them out on the date. That had me shook to my core. I really struggled at the beginning of doing that.
Because there is no steps. There's no pre-established steps to follow.
When you're like an awkward teenager, you love those steps. Those steps are like, thank you, Lord. Thank you for giving me this. It is harder. in that kind of way of, what do I do?
I think it can be quite freeing when you've experienced different sides of a relationship, and like you can appreciate both sides of the situation, I think, more if you've had a more varied experience of dating partners of like multiple genders. I feel less pressure to conform to those roles, because I do understand what it's like from a different point of view.
I've thought of something. Dating someone in the closet, that sounds so dirty. But dating someone who's not out, that is something that I experience only with the women I have dated.
Yeah, and that's just an added pressure to a relationship.
But that is something that's a huge difference, because if you date a boy, they will bring you back and like their parents will say, hey, da, 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 do the usual meeting the parents jazz. Meeting the girl's parents goes as you'll never meet them. You become James. Me.
What, so your exes have said that you're a boy to their parents?
Oh yeah, no, my exes have said, I'm going on a date, and they're like, who with? And they've been like, James. It's your girl. Hey demons, it's your boy now. That's something that's really shitty and puts this weird added strain on relationship that like you're a secret.
It's hard for both of you, and I would say that if you really are that much like in the closet and you're trying to date someone, sort that out before your relationship, because just no one has time for that, and it's so stressful for both people in the relationship. Just don't do it.
Really talk about it through with your partner. How are you going to do it? Like, will they be James? Boys, even when we were like 13 and like kissing, even that, which was like crazy wild, wasn't as frowned upon as me just being me.
In conclusion, dating girls is harder. Not because girls are harder, because society's a bitch.
Also, men are trash, so that sometimes upsets. Have you not been there? You've been like, he's cute now, and then he's like, why does Doctor Who have to be a female? Bye!
Did you get it? Bye! Goodbye! The main takeaway from this is that
the world sucks.
The world sucks. Bi-erasure sucks. Homophobia sucks. People suck.
Hear you say, I want it my way.
You can find all Jennifer's links down below, because why wouldn't you follow this bicon? I mean, honestly, why wouldn't you guys? Hope you have a lovely week. Bye bye.
What year was that created?
I don't know. Okay, bye everyone.
ISNT is better. ISNT.
Bye.
Bye. Wait, was it ISNT?
Fuck knows.
Wait, no, you've got to twist it like. Wait, no, sideways on. You're right. Sorry.